at the dump.
Now that spring is just about here, it is time to freshen up your home. One way to completely change the look of any room: paint. Brad is here from Ace Hardware, and he is going to show us exactly how to do it. Good to see you.
Nice to see you again, Destry.
Absolutely. Now, you have been talking about how this is a weekend project that's perfect for the last weekend of spring break.
It's the perfect weekend project for the last weekend of spring break because it's going to give you value and give you a brand new look in your room. One of the first things that I was sitting out on the patio with my mortician friend the other day.
Oh, okay.
And his wife asked, how do you freshen the look of your room? You own a hardware store. And I said, well, the easiest way to do it is to change color. And so my son, who's a rather active young man, we decided it was time to freshen the look of his room, and my daughter wanted to have a little bit to do with the color selection.
So how do you decide on the paint?
Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to decide what color to paint, and I leave that to the ladies in my life.
Okay.
But sometimes these little color chips don't necessarily give you the best representation what it looks like. So we've got these available in the store, and you can get about a 2-foot square. They're available for about $4 or $5.
That's perfect.
So you can paint it and take a look and see what it looks like over the course of the room. And it comes in warm colors and it comes in cool colors as well to give you a little bit better look of the room.
Okay, so the first thing you do, you pick out the color.
Pick the color. Typical bedroom in the valley, 2 gallons to paint my son's room. So that's $30 we're into the project already.
Okay.
Now, he's a rather active young man, so it required a little bit of wall repair. In his case, it was the wall repair patch with the aluminum reinforcement. We've got some of the fabric type reinforcements and then just some general spackle that you might want to look at. But his required a little bit of joint cement and wall repair with a little bit of a putty knife, and most gentlemen have these in their workbenches already, so that's a very low-cost way to fix the wall. Once that's dry, you move on to the next step. So we're still only into the weekend for about $30 or $40 in a couple hours in the morning.
Yeah, we repaired it all, and now what do we do?
The next thing you want to do is you want to kind of sand it down a little bit. Take a little bit of lightweight sandpaper and make it rough. So over the repairs, you smooth down any bumps and knobs that you might have done, and also just to roughen the surface of the paint. It will help the paint adhere.
Is it just on those places that you repaired that you're doing that?
You'll want to do it lightly on the whole wall, especially if you've got a high sheen and you want to kind of make sure the paint adheres very well.
Oh, okay, good to know.
And any dust you can take care of with a tack cloth like this.
And that's just what?
It's going to get the dust off. It's a kind of a sticky little cloth that takes care of things. The next thing you're going to want to do is clean the room. So we've got a couple of sponges and a couple of rags. I prefer to use TSP, trisodium phosphate. My late father would be very proud of me for using my chemistry degree, so I remembered what the formulation was. It's just a mild cleaner. And remember when you're cleaning to go from bottom to top to prevent streaking.
Okay, and you have to clean the, all the walls, everything you're going to paint.
I always clean everything to make sure you get the best coat. It's going to stick.
Okay.
The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remove the outlet covers and the cable covers and anything like that so you can just kind of get into the room. The next thing you're going to want to do is put a little bit of this tape.
And you got to use the blue tape.
Use the blue tape or the green tape. There are a couple of different brands out there. I happen to have this one. And just remember that when you put it down like this, a lot of folks use their finger. And then when you remove it, you pull in the direction that the tape is going to help remember it that way.
And you also got to get your brushes and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. The next step is finally painting. I like to cut first, and I use a 2-inch brush like this. Always use high-quality brushes, and you'll be more satisfied with the result.
How important is it to have
the brush is
quality?
The brush is the most important tool that I have in my painting toolkit at home.
And why is that? It's just going to go on better, less streaking?
It'll go on better, less streaking, exactly everything that you say. And so once you cut into the corners, we also have, for the gadget-minded, we have things like these corner rollers that you can go up into the corners with.
That's nice.
We also have these small pads and large pads for folks that are interested in that. And here's a really neat thing. It's got little wheels on the side. You just put it right along your ceiling. Get paint on the pad, and you go right like that, and you get a nice brush coat on there very well.
That's really cool.
The next thing that you want to do is roll the paint. I like these little rollers because if you're going over your head like this, it gets heavy after a while, no matter how much you work out or that fancy men's underwear you were talking about in the last.
Spanx, anything like that.
No matter how much you work out, it's still going to get a little tiring. And don't forget to go into an X or Z pattern to cover that as well.
Oh, okay.
I prefer to use on typical drywall applications inside somewhere between a 1/4 and a 1/2 inch nap. I brought here a 3/8 inch, and that's going to give you a really nice smooth finish with that sort of thing.
And of course, you got the pans
You can get
and all
the
that
pans
good
and the
stuff.
kits and all that stuff. There's more gadgets in paint than one can imagine.
And also, there's like tarps I see here, and that's important too.
It's important. If you don't take the furniture out of your room, you're going to want to cover up the furniture or the floor so you don't get drips of paint everywhere. That's a very important thing to do. We have two lines of paint that we're featuring this month. One is the Ace Essence paint. It's a good entry-level paint starting at $14.99 for a flat finish. It's a wonderful paint with a 12-year guarantee, and it did a wonderful job on my son's room. In my daughter's room, she wanted a little bit more of the trendy colors, which I mixed in the Ace Royal so I could get her a little bit different look in her room. And the Ace Royal starts at $18.99 for a flat finish.
How do you decide whether to do flat, eggshell, you want a sheen to it or not? How do you decide what type to get?
That's almost a subjective question, but the advice that I always give is that I try to put a little bit shinier coat on woodwork and trim and flat on areas that are in high traffic.
Okay.
So in my kid's bathroom, I used flat. In my son's room, I used flat, but on all the trim I use semi-gloss.
Okay, good to know. And of course you did it all in one weekend, right?
All in one weekend. 4 hours on a Saturday, 4 hours on a Sunday. Next weekend, I guess it's my daughter's room. Weekend after that, it's outside for the patio.
Yeah, you're going to be busy on the weekend. And of course, everyone, you can find all of these products at your neighborhood Ace. To find one near you, go to acehardwarephoenix.com. And still to come on Arizona Midday, another way to save money, cut your cooling costs. We're going to have tips to do it in a bit. Plus, is the new Jennifer Aniston movie, The Bounty Hunter, worth seeing this weekend? You may